Hello, this is John Gibble with Informatica, and in this session, I'm going to be talking about some net new capabilities that are in our Cloud Data Integration Platform, or CDI for short, as compared to what you might be familiar with in PowerCenter. The way that I have these grouped are kind of into three buckets. We have a couple of features I'll just talk about from easy use perspective. Secondly, we'll talk about some specific features really that ensures that you have comprehensive support for all of your modern integration use cases. And then also lastly, just talk about a couple of features that really help you optimize the deployment and runtime for cloud ecosystems. So let's start with just ease of use, and there's two features that I'm going to talk about here. The first one is referred to as a synchronization task. Essentially, this is a capability that allows pretty much anybody to create simple data integration tasks. So do inserts, selects, updates, deletes, and you actually create these and configure these right where, some place where you create like a mapping or a mapping task. So real quick, I'll just show you where you create these, kind of show you what the wizard looks like, talk a little bit about the features, then I'll move on to the next feature. So over in the data integration, if you select new, like I mentioned, here's where you create like mappings and task flows, etc. You'll see that there's this synchronization task here. Just go ahead and hit create. It sets up this wizard. So you see like source, targets, you can apply filters, you can do specific field mapping. But the key is, right, it's wizard driven, so pretty much anybody can do it. And then down here are the type of operation. So if you want to create a simple data integration, does insert, updates, deletes, you have all that capability essentially through this synchronization task. The second feature from an ease of use perspective is just data preview. Some of you may be familiar with in the debugger within PowerCenter. There's probably times maybe just you want to see what the data looks like up to a point in the transformation. Don't want to launch basically the full-fledged debugger. So within a mapping within our cloud data integration platform. So for example, I have this mapping opened right here. You'll notice that if you're selecting the mapping, you'll have your typical properties and the tabs, individual tabs down the left here, but you have this preview option. And so what you can do is basically just click on that preview, and then whatever transformation you have is selected. So for example, I have the joiner. It's going to show you what that data looks like up to that point. Now, I kind of ran this ahead of time. When you just see create a connection and then hit this run preview. But this gives you an idea that it's very easy, simple. At any point in the map, and if you want to see what the data looks like up to that point of transformation, you now have the ability to do that. So let's go to the next grouping, which is just really, support for any type of sort of complex data that you may work with, as well as different types of integration patterns. So the first one I'm going to talk about is just, the ability to easily handle complex data structures, regardless if it's semi-structured, structured file. And the way that we support this is through what we refer to as our intelligent structured discovery or discovery model. And this is just a way that within the platform, if you go to new here and you go to components, there's this intelligent structure model. So go ahead, if you select it, what it basically will help you do is just, for example, I'm going to select an XML file where I don't necessarily have the XSD for, and then once it loads the file, there's an option to essentially leverage our AI and machine learning capabilities within it that'll automatically go through, discover, basically analyze this to understand the structure of this file, and then also going forward if changes were to happen, got automatic detect there. But really, what I'll just highlight for today is that it creates those output groups. So when you use this transformation within your mapping, right, it'll automatically parse the file, then you'll have all of these fields available to use downstream in your mapping. And the key is, there's going to be situation times, right? We're going to have all kinds of certain kinds of files. You won't necessarily know the structure, and this will automate all of that hard work for you. The second area is just the ability to call REST APIs web services. And you can do that, from a source, or you can call basically a web service from a transformation within a mapping. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, this, for example, is a source. We have set up to call REST API through a Swagger page, to read that data, and we're going to land it in S3. And the other example is just a case where, we're calling basically a web service, and we're handling through that, business service transformation. We can see here where where it points to and the different operations that are available. And then the last area is just in terms of, optimizing it specifically, for cloud deployments, whether that's take advantage of the cloud data warehouse for the pushdown, or the ability to run, have a true serverless option from a deployment. So the first one I'll just touch on real quick is the pushdown capability. And that can be, for any of the cloud data warehouses that we support, Snowflake, Redshift, Synapse, Google BigQuery. But essentially, if you open up a mapping task, there's an advanced session property that gets set. You can see I have it set right here. And if I just do an edit real quick, I'll show you where you go to that. So if you go to the schedule and scroll down, you can see I've added this session property, pushdown optimization, and then there's a couple different values, like you can do two source on the target or full. And the key is, right, that can help with performance as well as minimizing the traffic of data through the network. And then the last option that I'll just talk about is the serverless option. So let me go ahead and close this. And if I go to administration right here, you'll see that there's now this serverless environment. If you go ahead and click new, it'll set up a new serverless runtime environment. We support this for AWS. And so, for example, I have, kind of pre-selected the region that I'm gonna run in, and you can just add the rest of the values there. But the idea is that we're gonna actually manage that entire environment for you in terms of what the agent's running in and it's doing the processing. So I think the key is, right, a lot of these features make it easier for more people to take advantage of the platform to do integration tasks, ensure that we can pretty much support any type of, modern data integration use case. And lastly, ensuring from a deployment perspective that we can really take advantage of true cloud capabilities that are going to be in your particular ecosystem. Thank you very much and have a nice day.